first half of the quarterfinals are done, and we say goodbye to an entire continent, as for only the second time since 1982, a World Cup semi-final has no representation from South America. Victories for Belgium and France set up a tantalizing semi-final on Tuesday, but before that, the two remaining last four spots are up for grabs. England are the highest-ranked team still alive on this side of the draw, and the 1966 champions will take on surprise quarter-finalist Sweden in the first match of the day. Hosts Russia then take on dark horses Croatia, hoping to reach their first semi-final since 1966. Now, before I get our experts to weigh in on the action, we have cover from the ground. Dan Ashby is reporting for us from Moscow. Dan, a very good afternoon to you. I am sure Russia is buzzing. The hosts, who would have expected, are going to be playing a quarter-final in some hours from now. But in the Russian capital of Moscow, there's also a huge army of English supporters who I'm sure are hoping the Three Lions are returning there in a week's time for the final.
Yes, excitement has been building for days, of course, for these quarterfinals. An electrifying start yesterday. But for Russians, of course, the big one is not this game coming up immediately, but the game afterwards. A game that no Russians, I think, expected that they would be in. There was zero expectation in Russia that they would get out of the group stages. They had that fantastic win against Saudi Arabia, and then they shocked the nation by knocking out Spain, one of the titans of the tournament. The scenes after that game were described as akin to the end of the Second World War. So you can imagine what the scenes would be like if they beat Croatia tonight and go to a semi-final, so tantalisingly close to a final. But yes, I mean, I've called around about 5 or 6 bars in Moscow. They are totally full. They've even had to open a second fan park in Moscow because of the excitement that has surrounded this World Cup. The 25,000 person fan park near Luzhniki Stadium, so packed out that they've now opened a second one in Spartak. So huge excitement for the Croatia-Russia game, and of course for England-Sweden coming up next.
I do absolutely envy you, Dan, for the surroundings you find yourself in. So I'll allow you to go on and enjoy it. Take the atmosphere in. Thank you so much for bringing us that report. Let's move on with the show. Let's take a lineup at England versus Sweden. There was some talk about England bringing in some fresh legs for this contest, but they're starting with the same team that played in the round of 16 victory over Colombia. Same 11, Ashley Westwood. Football can be very funny. One match back, this team had a hoodoo. All of a sudden, all expectations. And Gareth Southgate is going the tried and tested route.
Yeah, I think, to be fair, this more or less picks itself. You know, we rested a few players in our third group game against Belgium, and it didn't quite work. So I think he found a lot about, you know, who we can rely on. We've got good substitutions to come on when the game's open. But I think this one, like I say, is probably the strongest. You could possibly argue that Sterling could have been changed for Vardy or Rashford. Dele Alli may have had a little knock on his knee. You could maybe have thought about Loftus-Cheek, and maybe Danny Rose for Young, but they're only maybes. I think you're more or less the right side.
Two changes though for the Swedish side from the team that beat Switzerland 1-0 in the round of 16. First choice right back Mikael Lustig is suspended. He's replaced by Emil Kraft, who plays his club football for Bologna in the Italian league. Midfielder Seb Larsson returns from his suspension. He comes back for Gustav Svensson. Eugene, not necessarily the fanciest team to watch this, but this is a team which has, over the course of the qualification and the main World Cup, got the better of Netherlands, Italy, Germany. They're not a side you want to face.
Yeah, at the start of the tournament, I'm sure they must have thought that they would get through the group stages. But after getting through the group stages, I think there's belief in the team, and there's faith, there's desire, and there's hunger, you know, to do better. So it's going to be, I feel it will be tough for England, because he's set up the same team apart from the right back. They're going to be more or less the same strategy, same way they're going to play. So they have a momentum that's going about in the team. So it's going to be hard for England to break them down.
Can't not ask you about King Kane, of course, at the top, Ashley. 6 shots on target at the World Cup, 6 goals. Barrage of records already in his name, more lie in the future, of course. But are England concerned about where else the goals come from? Set pieces have worked in their favour, but that might not be that easy against the Swedes.
No, I mean, we're certainly a threat from set pieces, which is a good plus to have. I think over 40% of all the World Cup goals have actually come from set pieces, and we're right up there with the best at them. Lingard can score a goal from midfield. Dele Alli, we see him at club level score lots and lots of goals for Tottenham. We're still waiting for him to score his first goal. We expect him to be a threat. And then you've got, set pieces. Kieran Trippier, his delivery from set pieces are good. Also free kicks around the edge of the box. And Sterling's due a goal as well. Normally gets a chance. Not the greatest finisher, but certainly score a goal. He scored many goals for Man City. So we do have multiple threats, but it's just like any team. They need to click on the day, and they need to get the ball in the back of net. It's as simple as that.
Forgive me for not asking you for a prediction on this one. I know what you're saying. Eugene, can Sweden pose any threat to England?
I think England will have a tight score of 1-0.
And that would mean, Ashley, a return to the World Cup semi-finals after 28 years. We'll see how that pans out, while the world awaits a first-time 21st century champion, which is guaranteed, with only 5 games left to crown the new World Cup winners.